Welcome to Holistic Hideaway, your weekly transformative journey into the world of holistic health and well-being. I'm your host, Ilana Cohen. Today on our show, we have the pleasure of interviewing and having Rachel Reboulet from AirAnswers on our show. Rachel is the Director of Laboratory Operation and Commercial Lead at AirAnswers, Inc. AirAnswers is responsible for the only commercial air sampling technology that has the capability of detecting pathogens that can harm cannabis crops, affect crop yield, and prevent compliance of state requirements. Rachel, I would love for you to tell us about your background, and then we can get into your role at AirAnswers.
Oh, sounds good. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. Been in laboratories for the past 25 plus years, some form of laboratory operations position as a technician, starting right out of college up to director level. I've set up laboratories. I have done a lot of technical type talks. I have done a lot of work with developing products, setting up labs, commercial side. I have done a lot of technical sales. My background, I've worked at different companies and institutions such as University of Chicago and Children's Medical Center in Cincinnati. I have also worked for IDEX Laboratories, the veterinary medicine laboratory. They test all kinds of animal products.
So what brought you and your interest to working in laboratories and in all these different sectors, which of course correlate with holistic hideaways and working in the medical field as well as working in different parts of the medical field? What was your interest in getting into this?
I have always been very interested in science. Since I was a little kid, I did a lot of little laboratory courses and everything as when I was younger, and I've always had a keen interest in being part of sciences and also wanting to help improve people's lives to some extent. Came from a really strong medical background. Always just really wanted to help people. So that's kind of where my interest came. Combination of the challenging science piece, but also the helping others and helping to improve lives.
Wonderful. And do you feel that when you transferred into the cannabis space, that this was also a way that you would be helping people, which, as we know, cannabis is a great medical and wellness agent. And how did you decide that you wanted to pivot over to cannabis?
It was a really good fit. We work a lot in the integrative medicine space with functional doctors, integrative medicine, holistic providers. What we're working with them is to their patients run our devices in their home so the doctors can see what they're exposed to in their environment, what could be causing the problems that they're having. And cannabis is part of that world of improving people's lives, helping them sleep better, helping with any kind of pains they may have. And it seemed like a good fit. And also for the cultivators, we want to make sure that they have very healthy crops, that they're able to flourish. And also for the end user, we want to make sure that they have a good product and what they're inhaling and what they're ingesting is safe. So it seemed to be, a really good fit for us.
Absolutely. And lab testing is incredibly important within the cannabis industry, making sure there's no mold. They want products to be absolutely perfect for the patients and for regular users. And it looks like your product is something that is, a lot easier and more user-friendly, which is great for, people that are just starting to learn about how they can test their facilities. And with now craft grows and smaller types of growth, how have you seen your product perform and enter the marketplace?
Especially with different craft growers getting up and running, we really want to help them be able to compete with the other, grows that are out there. And part of that competing is having like a really good quality product. And as I've got involved with the cannabis industry, I've learned how important the quality of the cannabis product and how important it is to so many people. I mean, people have spent their lives, working on growing this plant and caring for it. And what we've seen with using our device as a monitoring device in these cultivations in the different rooms is that we're able to detect things before they could potentially harm the plant or before it becomes like a major issue in the room. For example, if we're testing for, let's say Aspergillus niger in a room and we see it, we get some sort of level of it, then the cultivator or the plant touching folks know that they have to, focus on that room, specifically, on the plants to make sure that they're keeping them, clean and healthy.
Absolutely. And that's our goal, health and wellness, as I said. And this shows so many different ways in the industry that we can all help each other. And of course, there's bumps along the road. And, a lot of the people in our industry or cannabis in general, there's still that negative stigma. And I would love to know what the reaction you got was when people found out that you were starting to work in the cannabis industry. Do you have any funny stories or anything that people might have asked you that seem pretty wacky?
Pretty wacky. It is kind of shocking to people since cannabis has been legal now for a while. But anytime tell anyone I'm in the cannabis industry, it does get a pretty interesting reaction. I've really enjoyed working in it. It's a great group of people. And I don't know, I like how helpful everyone is. And they really want to just, it's a community. And
absolutely.
That I have from cultivators, I have seen a little bit of pushback. The pushback that I've seen is people don't think that they have a problem. And a lot of times, maybe they don't have a problem, but that doesn't mean that something can't happen,
Absolutely.
So it's almost like, well, I don't need it because I don't have a problem and everything's perfect. Well, that may be perfectly true right now, but what if you do, and then you don't have anything to detect that problem, and then you wait all the way until you have part of your crop that you have to send out to be tested. And then that's when you find out there's a problem. I mean, why not
exactly
earlier in the process before it becomes a major issue?
And to piggyback off of what we just talked about, can you just let us know how you go about getting your testing to the craft grows and what they do once you have given them the tutorials and system?
The system is very easy to use. It looks kind of like a small Amazon Alexa. If you have those in your home, it kind of looks like that. It's very, very light, very easy to use. You purchase the device from us. It comes with purchase the cartridges as well. Cartridges are going to be where your sample is collected onto. You basically get the device, you put the cartridge in, you plug it in, you let it run for 24 hours. You can put it in the corner of one of your grow rooms, preferably on a table or a bucket. We've had customers who, put it in a bucket in the corner and just let it run. After 24 hours, you take that cartridge out, you have a shipping label and envelope and you send it into our laboratory and then we test it for a variety of different pathogens.
Wow, that's great. And it seems very streamlined and user-friendly. And what's different with that is a lot of times a lot more work goes into lab testing and the cultivators having to even work and test those things themselves. So the fact that you can put your device inside a grow room or a cultivation at the size of an Amazon Alexa, which is basically the size of a coaster, and they can just leave it there and it does the work. I think that really helps those grows because that means that your product is doing all of the work and then all they have to do is send it to you. Have you had feedback from some of the clients about how their experience was and what they liked about it?
Oh, yeah. We've had some really positive feedback from different people who've used it, and it's just so easy to use. and it's not big clunky equipment. You don't have to have somebody come in and run it. You can run it yourself. Mm-hmm. It's real simple. You just take it and stick the cartridge in it and let it run and, take the cartridge out. You don't need to have a professional come in and do the work. So it actually ends up saving you
great
time and money from having someone come in and do it.
Absolutely. And it cuts out the middleman. And I'm sure that it takes out a lot of the extra work that they have to do. Mm-hmm. And I just was wondering about the cartridges. So can you explain just a little bit about what those are and how the system collects?
Sure. The device we have uses a kind of capture technology, which we have several patents on the device, but it's called electrokinetic capture. Basically, there is a high voltage wire inside the device, and when it's plugged in, you get a force field of positively charged ions. Our cartridge has 2 metal electrodes, so when the air flows around that wire, the particles are positively charged that come in contact with that force field, and then they bind onto the cartridge. And the device itself has no pumps or engine. There's nothing. It's completely silent. So we have gotten some feedback about, I don't know if it would be a complaint, but it's too quiet. The only way you know it's on is there is a light ring on the bottom that's solid green. That's the only way you know it's running. But 150 liters of air per minute go through this device. So if you have, a grow room, you only need 1 device per 2,500 square feet.
Wow, that is very impressive for such a small device. And I'm sure that the grows are very happy that they don't have to have something big and clunky in their area, which is getting into their space and limiting more of the space they could be using for their plants.
Yeah, exactly. Really easy to use. It's very light. You don't have to test all your rooms. You can pick certain rooms that you're concerned with. It's just a nice, easy product to use. And it's not expensive.
Oh yeah. How much does it cost?
Our list price for the device is $499. The cards go for $20 each. And then the lab testing piece is anywhere from $162 up into the 500s for our cannabis customers.
Awesome. That sounds great. And how do you go about finding your different customers? Do you do outreach? Do you get intros and then do demos for them? What's the best way that you find the perfect type of client that you tell them that this is going to be the best testing system for them?
From working in the cannabis industry for this short period of time, I found the best way is through introductions, meeting people at trade shows, meeting people through other people who are really, really involved in the community. So that seems to be the best way that we've found to find the people who are interested in getting to know them and getting to know what they're trying to do and, finding out how we can help.
Definitely. And I think that across the board within the cannabis industry, we all find many different contacts, and by networking and really just putting ourselves out there and meeting people that are interested in our services. So I think that you are just right on the money with your product and getting out onto the, let's say, craft grow floor. And on that, since you had just touched on being in the cannabis industry for a short time, so far, what would you say are the 3 most exciting things that you have learned or that you like in the cannabis industry?
Well, I would say the biggest things that I've learned is people are so passionate about what they do. Everybody I've met so far, it's not just a job to them, it's life. The plants aren't just, a means to an end. That's passion. People have been working with cannabis for 20 plus years. It's their entire life. So it's really important for them more than just a job.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more. Even for myself, I'm one of those people where I have an extreme passion for the plant. And actually, this is why this show was formed. And there's so many people who have different passions, as you were saying, in different sectors of the industry. So I think that's what really brings us all together as well, because we all have the love for this plant and all want to be able to help in many different ways. I'm wondering also, as we know, women in cannabis are take it over. We're disruptors and innovators. What have you seen and experienced people either giving you pushback or not understanding how women in cannabis are just as important as men and anyone else?
I haven't been in the field long enough to get pushback, but I have noticed that, which is interesting to me, there's not a lot of cannabis brands for women. It almost seems like a lot of the brands, and I could be wrong, but it seems like a lot of brands are targeting men versus targeting women, and women are a big part of the users in the cannabis space. There's some that I found, but I'm just surprised that there aren't more.
Absolutely. And I think that is something in the industry that people are very much pushing for, as well as products that are dedicated to women than products that are dedicated to men. And then like they have CBD products for pets. We really need to have those different products for each person. I could not agree with you more. And then also, so on that note, do you see yourself continuing on in this cannabis industry? Would you like to keep growing and learning about the industry itself?
Oh, so much. It's been the most fun I think I've ever had working with this community. It's just, I've never met so many. It just makes me feel so good because everyone's so helpful. And I know that sounds odd. I've met a lot in different areas. People are helpful, but not like this. I mean, they really want to help you. They will go out of their way to make sure that you're introduced to the right people, help you with whatever you need. Right now, we're working on getting a pilot done with some craft growers, and everybody's trying to help find these craft growers who are willing to do this pilot and who are excited about it. So I definitely want to continue in this environment, in this community.
Absolutely. And, the canna community is just growing. And I think in a lot of other fields, people are not as willing to help, because everything is a competition. And although in industries, in yours and mine, there's other people that we're doing the same thing, but we're not in competition. We're all working together and trying to help each other. So that's definitely something that excites me and excites many people that I talk to. And I also thank you for talking about the pilot program, as I was going to ask you what you have fun and interesting coming up next. So thank you for that. And I would really love to just touch before we end. Do you have a favorite life lesson or quote or something someone has told you that is relevant to your life in general that has, helped you in your career or that you remind yourself of when you might be feeling a little defeated?
Good things don't come from comfort zones. And I've tried to do that. It's really hard, and getting out of your comfort zone feels very uncomfortable. But that's how you grow. That's how you learn, and then you improve upon yourself. I mean, there's no other way to do it. If you're in your comfort zone, you're just not going to grow.
Absolutely. And, I think in this niche industry, it is definitely something where we have to be out of our comfort zones because we're all taking on this new booming industry, which still is such trial and error, and we have so much to go on. So I love that quote. I'm definitely going to start using it.
Yeah.
And also, I just would love to hear what's next for you. Are you looking to become a leader in the industry and voice your opinions and your products, and really, of course, why you got in the industry? I think, a lot of people are really looking to hear from, again, women in the industry. And I think a little bit of the science kind of gets lost within other types of products, promotions, everything like that. A lot of people say that science labs testings aren't sexy. If you think about it, that's what they might say. but you can't do anything with your cannabis products unless they're tested.
Yeah, it may not be sexy, but it's necessary.
Eat it. Absolutely. Well, on that note, I am very, very happy that we got to chat and discuss how you entered the cannabis industry and with your goal to keep products safe and keep with health and wellness. And as we're saying, a holistic route. I would love to chat with you again as you go about your journey and hear about how the testing and the pilot went, because I am very, very interested in this product, and watching products become less complicated is very, very important to us.
I'm looking forward to it too. I'll let you know how it goes, but I'm excited about it.
Well, Kelly, Rachel, thank you so much for the time you spent with us. And we are hoping to follow along with your success and your story. And can you let us know where we can find you and where we can find more info on AirAnswers?
Yep. You can go to our website. It's www.airanswers.com. You can go to the cannabis link that's on our homepage, and you can learn more about how we can help you with your cannabis grow.
Wonderful. Thank you. And welcome to the community and the industry. We're very happy to have you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Holistic Hideaway. You can download past episodes of our program by going to cannabisradio.com or Cannabis Radio app for iTunes and Google Play, as well as subscribing to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Spotify. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.